I am Hannah, 22 years old, when I first felt it, a small, hard lump deep in the upper part of my right breast, during my evening shower. Not painful, just there. Unwelcome. Foreign. I remembered my pathology professor warning us, any new lump in the breast must be checked immediately. My trembling fingers traced its outline as cold water streamed down my back. My parents and I never had the best relationship, but I needed to tell them. I had no idea this discovery would begin 8 months of living hell. The next morning, I stood before the bathroom mirror, steam blurring my reflection, auburn hair damp against my shoulders, dark circles from late-night studying, and a smile that didn't hide my fear. I was in my 3rd year of nursing at Boston University, training to help patients. Yet here I was, possibly becoming one. At breakfast, I told my mom. She didn't even look up, it's probably hormonal. Don't make a fuss. Dad stayed buried in the paper. My younger sister, Chloe, smirked. That night, I touched the lump again. Still there. Still hard. And somehow, I knew, this wasn't going away. Over the next 2 weeks, the lump seemed bigger. I also started feeling unusual fatigue, even falling asleep in the library, something I never did. One evening, I tried again, Mom, the lump's growing, and I'm tired all the time. She dropped laundry into the basket and sighed. Hannah, you have midterms. You're stressed. Don't use this as an excuse to avoid studying. This isn't about school. I snapped. When I was your age, I worked through every ache and pain, she said coldly. Frustrated, I turned to Dad later that night in the kitchen. Please, I need a doctor's appointment. He hesitated. Your mother's a nurse. She knows best. I went to my room, tears burning my eyes. My parents weren't just ignoring me, they were actively blocking me from getting help. I started taking daily photos of the lump in the mirror, keeping a hidden symptom journal. I needed proof. Every day, the fear grew heavier. And then, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The skin over the lump had started dimpling, like an orange peel. By month 2, I had new symptoms, occasional sharp breast pain and a slight swelling under my arm. At my apartment, I showed my boyfriend, Mark, the lump. His face went pale, but he stayed calm. This isn't normal, Hannah, he said, taking my hand. We're seeing a doctor. Tomorrow. My parents won't let me, I whispered. Then we won't tell them until we have answers, he replied, his voice steady. Mark had always been my rock, patient, protective, and deeply caring. He spent that night researching breast cancer symptoms, sending me articles, and promising, whatever this is, we'll face it together. The next morning, he booked an appointment at my family doctor's office for the following week. But that night, my mother stormed into my room holding her phone. The clinic called to confirm an appointment I didn't authorize. I cancelled it. You what? I shouted. You're on our insurance. You live in our house. Respect our decisions. This could be cancer. Mark squeezed my hand later. Then we'll find another way. I didn't know just how much my mother's interference would cost me. Mark took me to a community women's health clinic downtown. Dr. Jessica Brown examined me, ordered an urgent ultrasound and mammogram, and scheduled a biopsy. This lump needs investigation immediately, she said. She handed me the paperwork, warning, if anyone tries to stop you, call me. But when I got home, my mother was rifling through my desk. She spotted the folder in my hand, yanked it away, and scanned it. Her face twisted with fury. You went behind my back again. Mom, this is serious. She tore the papers in half. Then in the kitchen, she lit the pieces on fire in the sink. You're destroying proof. I cried. You're destroying this family with your constant need for attention, she shot back. My dad appeared. Karen, maybe that's too far. I backed away, shaking. You're both insane. That night, Mark drove over, packed a bag for me and said, "You're staying with me now. I'll take you to the tests myself." 2 weeks later, I was in the university bookstore, reaching for a heavy nursing textbook, when the room spun violently. I grabbed the shelf, but my knees buckled. My vision blurred. I hit the floor hard. "Hannah." It was Mark's voice. He'd been meeting me for lunch and rushed over when he saw me collapse. Paramedics worked quickly. "She has a known breast mass with axillary lymph node involvement," one said. At the ER, the doctor explained, "We're concerned this could be advanced breast cancer. We need imaging and a biopsy immediately." My parents arrived mid-assessment. My mother scoffed at the doctors, until Dr. Brown stepped in. "The lump has grown. This is serious," she said. The preliminary results were devastating. Stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma. Mark held my hand through it all, whispering, "I'm not going anywhere." In a private room, Dr. Sharma, the surgical oncologist, explained, "The cancer is aggressive and already in nearby lymph nodes. We recommend a radical mastectomy, removal of both breasts, followed by chemotherapy and radiation." The words hit me like a truck. Mark's grip on my hand tightened. "We'll get through this." Aunt Lisa rushed in. I came as soon as Mark called. Lisa turned to my mother. "You ignored her symptoms. You're a nurse." Then Lisa looked at me. "Your grandmother died of breast cancer at 47. So did our uncle. They never told you." I turned to my parents, stunned. "You had a family history of breast cancer. Why didn't you tell me?" I demanded. "I didn't want you living in fear," my mother said, crying. "That's not protecting me, that's gambling with my life." My father spoke quietly. "I should have taken you to a doctor." I shook my head. "You both failed me. And now I'm paying for it." Dr. Sharma entered. "We're scheduling surgery for tomorrow morning." Mark leaned down, kissed my forehead. "I'll be there when you wake up." "Always." That night, I lay in my hospital bed, his hand in mine, knowing tomorrow I'd wake up without my breasts. The operating room was cold, the lights harsh. Dr. Sharma said softly, "Count backward from 10. When I woke, there was a heavy bandage across my chest. Mark was the first face I saw. His eyes were wet, but he smiled. "You're here. You made it." Dr. Sharma explained, "We removed both breasts and 14 lymph nodes. You'll begin chemotherapy in 2 weeks." Mark kissed my hand. "You're still the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Nothing changes that." After the surgery, I was placed on one of the most aggressive treatment plans available, months of chemotherapy followed by targeted radiation. The chemo hit me hard. My body ached, my appetite vanished, and I felt so weak I could barely make it from the bed to the bathroom. My once thick auburn hair began falling out in clumps, scattering across my pillow like autumn leaves. One morning, I stood in front of the mirror, strands of hair clinging to my damp cheeks, and I broke down. Mark came in quietly, took the clippers from the counter, and said softly, "Let's do this together." He shaved my head first, then, without hesitation, shaved his own. "Now we match," he smiled. Through every round of chemo, Mark was there, holding my hand as the four dripped, rubbing my back through the waves of nausea, and reading to me when I was too exhausted to talk. When I felt unattractive and broken, he'd cup my face and say, "You're still the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, and I can't wait to marry you." 8 months after the surgery, Countless chemo sessions, and weeks of radiation, the words I had prayed for finally came from Dr. Sharma's mouth. There's no evidence of disease. I was stunned. My voice shook when I asked, so? I'm cancer-free. He smiled. If you stay clear for another year, we'll call it remission. That night, Mark suggested we take a walk. We ended up in the small park where we'd had our first date, sitting on the same worn bench under the maple tree. Hannah, he said, reaching into his pocket, his voice thick with emotion, I've loved you through every scar, every tear, every fight. Losing your breasts didn't take away your beauty, it showed me your strength. Will you marry me? Tears blurred my vision as I whispered, yes. A year later, I walked down the aisle in a sleeveless ivory gown, my mastectomy scars visible and unapologetic. The guests gasped, not in shock, but in admiration. When Mark saw me, he cried openly. And in that moment, I knew, the cancer had taken so much, but it had given me something priceless, a love that saw all of me and stayed. If my story teaches anything, it's this: cancer may have taken both my breasts, but it could never take my will to live, or the love that stood beside me through it all. Mark didn't just watch me fight, he fought with me. Through surgeries, scars, and days I could barely lift my head, he reminded me I was still beautiful, still worthy, still me. And when I doubted myself, he put a ring on my finger to prove it. If you've ever had to fight for your life, or if someone's love carried you through your darkest time, share your story in the comments below. You never know who you might inspire. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss more stories of courage, survival, and hope. And if you know someone ignoring a warning sign, send this video to them today. You might just save their life. Thank you for being part of my journey. And remember, always trust yourself, even when others doubt you, because your life is worth fighting for.